Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. This is part 4 of Hellraiser, Below and Beyond. This is an unmade script set within the Hellraiser universe, and it is not, I repeat, it is not a reboot. If you've missed part 1, please see the link to that above and as well down below in the description box. But that being said, let's dive right in. Droplets of water echo in the darkness, or is it blood? A drop here, a splash there, the sound of water bouncing off of otherworldly stones. We trace a drop of liquid, unsure if it is blood or water, as it snakes its way down through a crack in the slabs of stone. We follow as it gathers some speed and momentum, until reaching a point where it begins to build, growing, and it drops, forming a tear. As it begins to fall, light shines through it. The light from a candle, a flame, something in the distance, and we see that this is blood. It falls, and we gaze on at its majestic beauty, unhindered in freefall. As the light reflects off of it, it shines a beautifully deep ruby red, akin to the gemstone. But this ruby is far more precious, the sweet nectar of life. The pearl ruby red life essence falls and descends into the deep black of the abyss. The focus falls back to the light, the flame being carried by the Wanderer. We are back in the temple ruins. He's still on the same stairs that we left him on. However, he now bears a torch to light the way down into the ever-winding depths of this cavernous place. Each step he takes, we focus on the wall adjacent to him. The torch is lighting the curiosities that appear to be etched into it, or scratched into it. Similarly to the hallway he came in on, there are the symbols from the pillars, the man, then the chain, and where a flat line was on the pillars, a scratch gouged into it from an unseen beast, the malicious intent apparent. In fact, as he descends, the scratching gets more intense, more erratic, until every stone and hieroglyph is covered in a heavy crisscross pattern, obscuring the viewer from any chance of deciphering the code. And from the darkness below the Wanderer, a gust of wind surges, building, growing, ready to burst, and it erupts. A cataclysmic force of nature has begun to climb from the depths. He grips, holding on to the cracks in the walls, and as he does so, he drops the torch. Simultaneously, the torch falls as something emerges from the depths. Something shoots past him with an almighty blast, like a sonic boom, and as it does, the red shimmer returns in the wake of its trail, leaving us to wonder, was this the torch or the unseen force? And with the thunderclap ricocheting from the walls and his torch gone, the Wanderer grips for dear life, bathed in the darkness once more. From the shadows above, a sound begins to fade in, like the beating of enormous wings. Each flap sends a monumental gust of wind to the Wanderer below. He stands his ground, firmly, with conviction, and the beating intensifies, building stronger and stronger. This beast, looming above, has every intention of causing the Wanderer to descend the stairs at a fatal pace, falling to his death. And the Wanderer, he stands there, digging his bloodied feet into the floor, held there by pure will alone. He will not be moved, he will not falter. He has come too far to let this guardian get in the way of his plans. The beast above, it becomes apparent, is the cause of the hieroglyphs being destroyed and what they depict. being lost forever. This guardian flaps harder and harder, one final attempt to dispatch the wanderer in a more graceful manner before resorting to a hands-on approach. But it's too late. The wanderer has taken his chance to reach inside a small knapsack that he has hoisted to his side. He quickly and purposely pulls a spherical item from it, twists the top clockwise. He turns the bottom counterclockwise and presses in the top. He holds the bottom, and as he does this, a beam of blue electric begins to form from the sides of this relic. As it does so, we see the structure of the spherical item in his hands, the deep etchings and carvings, the patterns. They seem familiar. A configuration of sorts. But something is different. It's an opposing pattern to the one that we know, that we have seen before. And the light continues to build. The guardian above shrieks in anger or pain or perhaps annoyance. Whatever it is, the blue electric sends the guardian on its way, and with another thunderclap, it's gone. The wanderer quickly presses the top in, twists the bottom, turns the top, and places the item gently in its place, making sure to cover the item in a very familiar black wrap, a wrap we have seen before. Hints of red stain ingrained in the fabric. With his knapsack hoisted, the wanderer begins his march down the stairs, into the darkness, the order in the silence, away from the chaos that just was. It's silent, and yet we hear it once more, the droplet echoing in the distance. We know it now to be blood. And we likely now know its origin, a carcass torn apart by the guardian of this place, and perhaps the source is something much sinister, some entity, or entities dwelling in this place, like the figure in the courtyard. As we are left to ponder the origin of this ever-flowing stream of blood, we hear the faint clink of chains, a gentle, rhythmic thud. The wanderer has reached the bottom of the stairs now. How long had he been in this cavernous place? Days, weeks, months? It couldn't be years, surely. Everything is blending into one, but he's near his goal. This is the end game now. And as his bare foot touches the cold, hard stone slab at the base of the stairs, we hear a shriek in the distance. The guardian, as if connected somehow to this place, knows that someone is on its ground. Its hallowed ground. He takes a step forward, and we pan from his hand, grasping at the infinite blackness that is in front of him, to his shoulder, to his chest. We can hear his heartbeat beating faster and faster, and there it is again, the clink of chains and a thud, thud, thud. We hear this orchestra of chains, thuds, and the heartbeat as the wanderer walks forward into a gentle, low light. And we realise with each step just how vast the corridor that he is in. It appears less a corridor and more a great banquet hall. However, it is indeed a corridor. We see giant torches cast in some alloy adorning the walls. Not steel, not iron, but an alloy. We slowly pan across the corridor to the doorways that line it, some open, some closed, a method to the madness of this place, no doubt. Some doors hold mechanisms and intricate designs, arcane and mythological, dark magic, no doubt. The mechanisms, though, appear to be a range of technological levels, from steam-powered to rope to water and more, various levels that humans have exhibited throughout history. And yet he walks on, the chains, the thuds, the heartbeat, all singing together in dark unison. And he steps forward. The chain clinks louder, and a thud comes down, as if it were a sledgehammer to a stone. He stops. He knows something we don't. His heart pounds. Then it stops. The thudding, it storms closer, thunderous. We hear a whoosh of wind as it comes closer and louder, as if something is running towards him. Something massive, something giant, something invisible, and with it we hear a voice, deep and thunderous as the encroaching steps and as evil as the Dark Lord himself. He who steps in my domain, he who walks in my dominion, must come and dine at my table of suffering, taste my pleasures, and seek to repent. The Wanderer grips at his knapsack. We know what he's reaching for. The thundering stomps are coming closer, and as he fumbles away, trying desperately to reach that configuration of salvation once more, fade to black.